All right, you guys, behind me is a 2004 Volvo S60R. We all know the E46 M3, the Audi S4, its competitors at the time, they all have massive cult followings. And because of that, there's a ton of attention drawn to those cars. They've held value and in some cases gone up in value. And I'm sitting here thinking like, well, the S60R on paper does everything that a lot of those cars do. It's special, it was technologically advanced for the time. It's got a unique engine. It's a 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's got all-wheel drive. The point is you can pick these up for pennies now. And if you're looking for a manual transmission, all-wheel drive winter car, look around. This might be the one to get. The owner of this car warned me the turning radius is bad. So we'll start out with a negative, all right? Horrible turning radius, but under the hood is what makes this car unique, at least the first thing that'll make it stand out. It's a 2.5 liter, 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. I mean, listen to that. I will take this over most 4-cylinder engine, just standard 2-liter 4-cylinder, and ahead of its time in other ways. So another thing that made this car really special is it actually has adaptive suspension. It's got 3 buttons here on the dash: comfort, sport, wow, and advanced. So if you wanted to hit the back roads with a little bit more aggression, let's say, there we go, there's a little bit of slip there. You could go in advanced, stiffen it up. Not only that, but it would read with a bunch of different sensors: ABS, traction control, steering inputs, braking inputs. It would effectively read the road and individually in all 4 corners adjust the dampers. So, you know, some serious hardware, some serious stuff that if you're not in the know, you might not know about. Now, this one I'm driving today has been modified, so it is sitting on KW coilovers, so no more adaptive suspension. Still rides really nice. It's got a ton of feel. I drove a V70R, if you guys remember, a few years ago, and that still had the factory working adaptive suspension, and it was surprisingly stiff in advanced mode. I mean, this is a stealthy sports sedan, all-wheel drive, and of course, a 6-speed manual. The manual is not the greatest. It's special within the Volvo world, especially because this was effectively the last kind of manual transmission enthusiast Volvo. All-wheel drive system's a Haldex all-wheel drive system. Oh my, that is some torque. So front-wheel drive, or 90-95% of the torque to the front, unless you're either under hard acceleration or it sends a slip in the back. So it's not an Evo, it's not an STI. Those all-wheel drive systems are more robust. They're more catered to an aggressive driving scenario on loose surface, where the S60R is just giving you that peace of mind. Ironically though, the peace of mind does it stop there? I don't know. I've never owned one of these cars. So all the stuff I just mentioned, the unique 5-cylinder engine, it's understated. I think it has aged brilliantly. I think design-wise, it's great. Interior has held up amazing. The seats are like some of the most comfortable seats ever. The gauges, you cannot get better looking gauges than this. Just an analog gauge. Even the boost gauge, the aftermarket boost gauge, matches that, which is really cool. A lot of cars are going digital. It stands out, especially in a modern context. But if you're an enthusiast and you're looking to modify this engine, it can get a little dicey, so I've heard. And the people that I've talked to that have modified these engines say you do have to watch out for the safety of the block, simply because it's an open deck design and the space in between the cylinders has coolant passages that create a weak point prone to cracks. It may happen to you, it may not, but like I said, it's just a roll of the dice. Apparently, the earlier and smaller 2.3 liter 850Rs didn't have the same issues. This one seems to be an outlier. This one has incredibly high mileage, 272,000 kilometers. Oh, on the overrun, that sound. A little pop from the exhaust. Okay. Okay. It revs so freely. This one's also got a single mass flywheel versus the factory dual mass. Stock, these came with 300 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. This one has a tune. It's got a flash tune. A couple other things, nothing major hardware-wise. Upgraded intercooler, free-flowing exhaust, and then, yeah, just a boost gauge to keep an eye on things. So this to me on paper is super dicey, but this is a perfect example of an S60R that you could buy for, I don't know, 5,000 USD, 7,000, 10,000. It depends on the day. It depends on the color. This one's in an awesome red, so probably worth a little bit more. Wow, just the best. Hey, look, it's an RS3 before an RS3, before the RS3, you know? If you're worried about your engine blowing up, if you're worried about reliability, that could be what's keeping a lot of people from buying these cars, even though they are so cheap. It could also be that people just don't know what these cars are. I think that's a huge part of it. People don't want to be seen driving a Volvo. A lot of people, I think it's great. I love it. It's understated, it's stealthy, but I think the biggest thing is they're just not well known. It's not cool to drive a Volvo. It's cool to drive an M3 or an Audi S4 or a CTSV or a first-gen Golf R. But I will say, if you know this car, you think it's cool, but you're worried about reliability, I would just stay away from all the cars I'm about to list. And there are a lot from the early to mid-2000s with a manual transmission, 4 doors, some with rear-wheel drive, some with all-wheel drive, that are very cheap at the moment. Let's take a look at some of those right now. So what good would a cheap car video be without a few other options for you guys to choose from? First is the most obvious competitor, in my opinion, around this price point, the B6 or B7 Audi S4 sedan. 6-speed manual, naturally aspirated 4.2 liter V8 under the hood, and of course, all-wheel drive. The floor for these is around $8,000, but really nice ones do go for up to $35,000. The sound of this engine is easily what makes this S4 one of the most memorable. The B6 and B7 were the final NA cars, and it's a great buy if you can find one that has maintenance records and everything like that. My second pick is the E36 M3 sedan. Now, why am I not saying E46 M3? Well, they dropped the sedan. So to get an E36 M3 sedan here in the States, you can find them high mileage beat up for $8,000 all day long, but really nice ones are $20,000. And if you get a proper, what the M3 junkies will call a proper M3, a Euro spec model with the upgraded engine, ITBs, etc., you're looking easily at $30,000 all day long. My third pick is the Mark 6 Golf R. These have come down a lot in the last 10 years. Still, the floor for these looks to be around $10,000. Again, not a sedan, but very comparable to the S60R. And I have to mention, of course, Evos and STIs. The most comparable, Evo 5 and 6, my personal favorite. Those have shot up in value. They're 20K plus now. Same with Hawkeye and Blaubai STIs. The floor for those seems to be around 15,000 up to 40,000 for a really nice one. Let's see what we can do. That's ridiculous. That's the thing, if you're looking for some of those NA options, they're special because they were the final NA cars, the S4, the 4.2 liter V8, the last naturally aspirated engines. You get those, they've got great power up top. Linear, instantaneous torque, especially the 4.2. But what they don't have is that low down turbo shove, just an incredible amount of torque that makes driving, especially in the snow, just so much fun, just a riot. I will say, steering is not quite up there with the best. You know, if out of those picks, if you're looking for a visceral, connected driver's car, you know, forgetting about the homologation stuff, the STI and the Evo, because I think that's a different crowd. But if you're looking for something with a little bit more of an air of luxury, there's nothing that's going to dynamically top the BMWs. I hate to say it. The Audis are nose heavy. As a recipe, though, it's so strange because it has almost everything that should create something that resembles one of those homologation cars. It's got the Olin suspension. It's got Brembo brakes. It doesn't have the Recaros, but nonetheless, really comfortable seats. Like, I'd much rather be sitting in this than a CTSV, hands down, without a doubt. So it has most of that, and it's not just an S60 with a bit more power. It's got character. It's got exactly what we're looking for from an enthusiast car that manufacturers just are not building now. So an engine with light modifications that feels like it has well over 300 horsepower at the wheels, a low RPM torque shove that NA, Audi, and BMW engines just can't serve up, a sound that's far too exotic for how it looks, all served up as a salute to the nerds. Sure, it's not as connected as an M3 and it's nose heavy like the S4, but from where I'm standing, it's unquestionably earned a spot at the table. I have no doubts diehard S60R fans have tried to keep these quiet for years, but it's clear now the secret is out. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, oh, there was some understeer. Oversteer is, I mean, rare if not impossible in this car, unless it's liftoff. I would say worth it, you guys. Yeah, you can literally grab these for pennies. They're all day, every day, under $10,000 USD. Really, really nice one might be $15,000. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you've watched this entire video and you still have zero interest in old, aging European luxury sports sedans, you can check out right here my Volvo V60 Polestar review. We'll see you guys next time.